Ready?
Hey, what's up, guys? Mike Patrick. In this video, I want to talk about nootropics. Okay, nootropics is basically things that can help you optimize your brain, okay, and your cognition. All right, guys. So there are certain things in our diet that we need that optimize our brain health. Okay, and when we don't have these things, we can see a degradation in our brain's capacity to do whatever we need to do, whether it's learn, whether it's recall things, whether it's staying alert, okay, and sharp. All right. So now, guys, I want to talk about three nootropics, okay, that I think is going to be really good because two of these things we all kind of use them anyway, or most of us use them whether we are health conscious or not. So this will be a good way for you to look at these substances, okay, and maybe feel better about something that you're already doing that you've been told is not good for you, or you know it's not good for you, but it just may be a habit, okay, and things like that, and it may be threatening your health. Okay, if you maybe, you know, it can't hurt to perceive these things this way and to know these things about some of the things that we already take or that we already use, and we don't think that it's that healthy. And in many cases, and for a lot of reasons, these things aren't that healthy. But let's face it, some things we're not going to let go, so we might as well just have a better perception about it and know what good we may be getting out of it. And if you can change other things in your life, then maybe uh, the 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 use of the things that we think are bad for us or that we know to be bad for us, perhaps it can change if we change some other things in our life. Okay, so let's just say you're a person who you're trying to eat better, okay, you're trying to exercise, but the one thing you can't shake is you smoke cigarettes, right? Or let's say you're eating better and you're trying to exercise, but you can't stop drinking that coffee. You know what I mean? Well, I'm going to talk about three nootropics, okay, and then two of them are going to be nicotine, okay, and caffeine. Now, I'm gonna talk about nicotine and caffeine first. All right. So nicotine. How many people smoke cigarettes? It is what it is. I'm not a fan of cigarettes. I think most of us who smoke cigarettes know that is not good for us. But like I've said in the past, I know it's a hard monkey to get off your back if you're trying to work yourself off of them, or if you can't get off of them. This is a way to look at it. Okay, this is something to know about nicotine. Okay, now nicotine itself is a nootropic. It helps your brain, okay, guys. It helps with alertness, all right. It helps with recall, okay. It helps with dopamine, meaning basically dopamine is responsible for keeping you calm or giving you a good feeling. That's why that's something that caffeine is also good for as well. That's why when you get that first sip of coffee in the morning, it's, you just, not only does it give you energy, okay, and alertness and sharpness, but it also makes you feel good, right? That's because nicotine and caffeine are very big ingredients when it comes to dopamine production. Okay, guys, so look at it that way. If you smoke cigarettes, know that you are getting that from it. Okay, now cigarettes, it's not the nicotine itself per se. That's why if you can find a way to get maybe some clean nicotine can be and is addictive. So that's one thing. Anything that you feel like you have to have, it's not that good anyway. But nicotine itself, from a health standpoint, if you're taking it in the right dosages, it's not really bad. It's not the nicotine itself. It's a lot of other things that they put in cigarettes that make the cigarettes, as you know, bad for you. Okay, and then not to mention when you smoke it. So sometimes it's other chemicals that make things bad. So something can be a base ingredient, but it may have other chemicals in it, and that can make it bad. Or it could just be the way that you're consuming something that makes it bad. Okay, so you know, if there's a cleaner way that you can get your nicotine, I recommend that. You know what I mean? Because like I said, a lot of you smokers know, you know, you probably are a little sharper or a little bit more alert, or you feel a little better. That's the dopamine. You feel a little better and things like that after you smoke a cigarette. Okay. Also with caffeine, I love coffee myself, okay? And coffee is great, okay, guys, for different reasons, okay? So we know about the caffeine in the coffee that's going to help with, it's a nootropic, alertness, okay, recall, all right, the ability to learn things and retain the information that we learn and focus, okay? So but with coffee per se, we know there's different ways that we can get caffeine. So an added benefit to taking in your caffeine in a form of coffee is the antioxidants in the caffeine, okay? We know, you have heard me talk about antioxidants plenty of times, right? And so that's why that coffee bean is so dark. It has a lot of polyphenols, a lot of antioxidants in it, okay, guys? And those antioxidants are protective to our cells. And so the reason that I think coffee is so good, I believe there's studies where they find that people who take caffeine through coffee, they protect, not only will they get all the benefits of the caffeine, okay, but also it's protective to people's brains because of the antioxidants that's in the coffee. All right, guys. And let's see here, with the coffee, antioxidants, caffeine. Now the thing about the caffeine, guys, and nicotine, okay, is that these things are considered drugs, okay? So for one, the reason why nicotine is addictive, the reason why caffeine is addictive, is because they do stimulate dopamine, okay? And then if you're getting too much dopamine, you get addicted to that feeling, okay? You get addicted to that rush, you get addicted to that energy, that alertness, okay? And therefore you become dependent, so therefore it becomes addictive, okay? So they are considered drugs, but if you can find a way to control how much you're taking, then if you get in that sweet spot, that balance, okay, and if you can stay there, you know, it's going to enhance your brain activity and your cognition, okay? I want to talk about omega-3s, okay? This is the third one, omega-3 fatty acids, okay? Now, DHA specifically is a really good omega-3 to take. Look up DHA, okay? And omega-3s, I've talked about this in the past, those healthy fats. You've heard me harp on that, you know, a few times, because this is so important for your whole body, but specifically we're going to talk about your brain right now, okay? Your brain is comprised of mostly fat, okay? So you need these healthy fats, the problem for your brain to be able to perform like you want to and like you need to, and that you're at the height of which you can do mentally, okay? And from a cognitive standpoint, you need these healthy fats. All right, guys. Now the problem is most of us are getting too much bad fats, okay, or what we consider bad fats. I don't even want to call it bad fats, as it is. It's just the ratio of fats that we are supposed to have. The ratios are all out of whack. So many of us eat way too many omega-6s, okay, omega-9s, and we're not getting the proper amount of omega-3s, okay? So it's not that these other fats are necessarily bad, we're just getting too much of one or two fats and not enough of another. And the reason that we get so many omega-6s and omega-9s is because we eat a lot of what? We eat a lot of fried foods, or fats that's been altered, okay, and that are degraded through high heat, and just different processes. Like if you eat potato chips and a lot of the different things that we eat, like snack foods, they have a lot of these fats in them, but once they've been through certain processes, it degrades that fat, and it makes it turns an omega-3 into an omega-6, or omega-3 to omega-9. And so you need healthy fats, omega-3s, in order to keep your brain cushioned and to be able to, it's a nootropic. The main things about nootropics, we said, is what? Alertness, recall, the ability to learn and retain information. That's the most important thing that you want to get from this video. So if you go and do research, and if it's somebody who's throwing out all these big words and this and that, and they're really long-winded, at the end of the day, all they're going to be telling you is that nootropics nootropics in any form, probably most of what you're going to see as far as the benefits of a nootropic and why it's considered to be a nootropic is because it's going to enhance your alertness, okay, your awareness, your energy, your ability to learn, your ability to retain information. So that's all have to do with cognition, right? What do we consider a declining or aging brain? Someone who's very forgetful, right? Someone who doesn't have the ability to learn new things, the synapses, you know what I mean, and your neuroplasticity. That's your ability to be able to learn new things and pick up new things and create new pathways to be able to learn new things. You know what I mean? So people who are stuck in their ways, that's a neuroplasticity issue. When you can't really adapt and when you can't really learn new things and you get stuck in your ways, people don't really associate that. But that's why, that's why it's funny to see certain things and make certain correlations. So think about a person that's a very stubborn person, or a person who they can be 50 years old, but they don't seem to know any more than they knew at 20. You know what I mean, or whatever. A lot of times, look at how those people eat. You know what I mean? What is their capacity and ability to be able to learn new things? And so this is like the science, the breakdown of it, the biology of it, some things that have to do with it. And then for a lot of you guys, when you start cleaning your diet up, what did you notice? So when you start getting healthy fats, or you might start doing certain things and eating certain things, you may feel like you became sharper. You may feel like you became more aware, more smarter, able to retain certain information that you're interested in and things like that. It's different reasons why people don't retain certain things, but so that's big, guys. That those fats, okay, those fats are they are precursors to, those healthy fats are precursors to a lot that goes on in your body, but especially mentally, your brain. That's why even with depression and things of that nature, they find that omega-3s are very helpful, okay? Because a lot of things that we think are just a state, an emotion, it is an emotion, but sometimes what we put in our body and what we don't have in our body can also trigger certain emotions, okay? So when we think of depression, we think of, somebody's just going through a tough time, or somebody's upset about something and things like that. But sometimes there's a lot of people that walk around now who don't even know why they're upset and things like that. I don't know why I feel this way, but these things are chemical imbalances, okay? So that's that, guys. That's a simple way of looking at nootropics. And hopefully, really, you probably don't even need anything else other than this video, because I told you what they're good for. I told you what a nootropic is. I told you what are they good for, and I told you about 3, okay? And then 2 of them, if you was doing something, 2 of them are things that we consider to be bad, but now hopefully if you know this new information, that may change your mind about it and have a better effect on yourself. You know what I mean? But still, if you can let the cigarettes go, do it. If not, try to do other things right. Try to eat better. Try to exercise. Things that you can, whatever you think that you can do. Try to drink more water. Then do that, and then you can't do nothing but get better. You know what I mean? So it's better, at least if you can't stop smoking, you know what I mean, or drinking too much coffee or something. At least if you're eating better and drinking more water and getting more sleep and exercise, just do what you can. Do what you can, okay? Another thing one more thing about stimulating your or upping your nootropics. One thing I can say about when you start to learn about health and fitness and things like that, and trying to optimize your health and your fitness and your being on all different levels. Right now we're talking about the brain. I would say, guys, it does have to be a balance. What can happen, you can get too heightened, if that makes sense. You can get too heightened. So for example, with me, right, I've been on a path of changing my diet and eating a certain way and living a certain way. I've been living a certain lifestyle for a little while now, and it's certain things like I have a hard time eating at this point. I eat because, like I said, now I know how you have to stay grounded, okay? That's why when people fast, that's the reason why when they fast, um, you become what? You become lighter and lighter, and people fast to do what? Have some type of spiritual connection. So if you're a Christian, anything like you fast because you're gaining a spiritual connection. It's a reason. That's the scientific way of looking at something spiritual. Okay, and you notice if you fast, you do over time, the more you fast, you do become a little bit more enlightened, a little aware, a little bit more aware, and a little bit more sensitive. Okay, now, but you know, we're here, we're on Earth, we're here in this third dimension, and so you do have to remain balanced and grounded. Okay, guys. So what can happen is like anything, you want to stay balanced, and so if you're sharpening your mind and things like that, how I want to say this, like you just don't want to overdo it. Okay, you can become too smart, you can end up having too much energy, right? What good is it for you to have a super computer brain or something like that, and a super aware brain, but if it takes you out of balance, then that's not good. Okay, so you have to stay balanced. Same thing with being healthy and things like that, and exercising. You don't want to exercise too much. Okay, you don't want to. But the thing is, guys, when you get all this stuff in order, you get all this stuff balanced, and you start getting healthy and going to different heights with your health, you do want to remember to stay balanced and stay grounded, and not too much too fast. Okay, guys. Hopefully this was a helpful video. Nootropics, let's go over it one more time. Nootropics, there are things that benefit the brain to optimize the function of your brain. Okay, and we know healthy fats, omega-3s are good for it. Okay, we know caffeine can be good for it, not overdoing it though. Okay, and also we know nicotine is good for it, but not overdoing it though. Okay, and one more big thing about that caffeine, guys, and coffee and things like that, it can throw off your circadian rhythm if you're drinking coffee too late. You see what I'm saying? If you're not doing things properly, then it can have different side effects, and then it'll throw your sleep pattern off. Okay, then you'll be wired and you'll be up all during the night. So if you're gonna drink your coffee, you know, drink your coffee, be done with it by, I would say, like 12. Okay, you know, maybe 1 or 2 cups, maybe even 3, but be done with it by 12. So you give that your body time to wear off, that caffeine to wear off. Okay, and it doesn't mess, and you still get sleepy at a reasonable hour, so you can get proper sleep too. So you don't want to throw other things off. So hopefully this was a helpful video, guys. Peace.